Well, hello, good evening. Welcome to Sports Today. You are live with me, Rajashri Gupta, and late night finish there for the third and the final ODI between Sri Lanka and India. Sri Lanka a consolation victory there at the end. They won this game by 3 wickets. This should have really been a much more comfortable victory. They should have won like 5 or 6 wickets, but that wasn't to be. But Mickey Arthur, the rest of the Sri Lankans will take the rest of the Sri Lankan team will take this victory, especially after what happened in the second ODI. Remember, they had India on the mat almost before a special effort from Deepak Chahar with a lot of help from Bhuvneshwar Kumar uh, meant India took an unbeatable 2-0 lead in the three-match series. And of course, India have won the series 2-1, but good on Sri Lanka to win this one. Of course, India weren't playing their full strength team for this final ODI. Of course, having pocketed the series earlier, 2 days back, they wanted to hand over debuts to as many as 5 cricketers. So that's half the side, half the Indian side, which was making his debut, right? You had the likes of Sanju Samson, so you had Nitish Rana, Krishna Gautam, Rahul Chahar, and Chetan Sakaria. Chetan Sakaria is an impressive debut. You've seen his story, you've seen him on Sports Today. We've discussed him, we celebrated him, but it was an impressive debut from Chetan Sakaria. 2 for 34 of 8 overs. Navdeep Saini, of course, sharing the new ball with him. No success there. Rahul Chahar also on debut, picking up 3 wickets for 54 runs. So that's how they all shaped up. A wicket there for Krishnappa Gautam as well, and a couple of overs from Nitish Rana. But India really lost the plot with the bat, of course. Prithvi Shaw got off to a very good start. Sanju Samson looked very good on his ODI debut, 46 ball. Prithvi Shaw, unfortunate to miss out on a half century yet again in the series. He started off with a bang, 43, got out for 49. Surya Kumar Yadav again among the runs tonight. He's had a spectacular. He's had a good start to his ODI career, like he did to his T20I career just a few months back against England. So there's been some real positives for India. Ishan Kishan there, Surya Kumar Yadav really announcing himself as a strong middle order option for India in shorter formats in the times to come. Um, but this game, it was so much about India trying their bench strength, getting a lot of these cricketers, oh, letting them go out there and have a game and get some experience of playing international cricket for India, playing one-day cricket for India. So you wouldn't really look too much into the defeat. Sri Lanka bowled well. They were the far better team. Their experience showed. Look at the Indian bowling lineup. There was definite inexperience there as well. And once Prithvi Shaw got out, once Surya Kumar Yadav got out, there wasn't really much. There wasn't much in that batting lineup. Concerns, areas of concerns for India. Before I come to Hardik Pandya, mentioned we should mention Manish Pandey. Has he let go of a lot of his opportunities there? He had the chance. He played all 3 ODIs, and he had the chance to really establish himself as uh, as a batsman to reckon with. But that didn't happen. He got out for 11 in the first ODI as well. You remember he had gotten off to a start, but couldn't quite manage to press on from there. But Surya Kumar Yadav, he's been so good. He's got those quick 30 runs in the first match. He got a half century in the second game, a crucial half century in the context of the game. Of course, Deepak Chahar stood out in that game with his late order half century, but Surya Kumar Yadav's runs were as crucial. And even even on even on Friday, Surya Kumar Yadav was looking so good before he was dismissed. And once these two or three batsmen went, there wasn't much. Concerns around Hardik Pandya as well. Again, he didn't get too many runs. He His bowling has been expensive. He hasn't he in any of the 3 ODIs didn't bowl his anywhere near his full quota of overs. Well, not that you'd expect Hardik Pandya to bowl his full quota of overs, but is he now looking like your prime all rounder? Is he you know, given he bowled 5 overs for 43 runs. He got that 1 wicket, but by then the game was way out of India's grasp. So Hardik Pandya there, is he beginning to look like a bit of a concern there for India ahead of the T20 World Cup. Who are they going to look at as a seam bowling all round, because India have invested so heavily and so consistently on Hardik Pandya over the last 2 or 3 years. You start to wonder where Hardik Pandya is going wrong and what he should do to get back to the cricketer that we all know he can be, and he has been for Mumbai Indians and for India in his earlier and formative years in international cricket. Well, that's that then. Sri Lanka have won this game by 3 wickets, chasing 226. Remember, it was reduced to a 47 over per side match because of rain interruption earlier during the Indian innings. It was reduced to a 47 over match. India managed to score. They were bowled out for 225, and it was at the end Sri Lanka won with 48 balls to spare, which is 8 overs to spare, and they won by 3 wickets, chasing down 226 pretty comfortably. Well, on paper it looks like a bit of a close finish, 3 wickets, but they really lost a couple of unnecessary wickets lower later in their chase. So that's all that we have from Colombo for the ODI series. Of course, we'll build up to the T20Is as well. We'll bring you updates from the T20I series between India and Sri Lanka. But before we get to the T20I series, is the Olympics. The Olympics have started. The opening ceremony took place in Tokyo. It was a somber opening ceremony. It tributes to the COVID-19 victims. There was, this was the opening ceremony was played out in front of an empty stadium with very limited number of athletes and officials from each participating country. But tomorrow, 24th of July, that's going to be a very, very critical day for India. A lot of medal prospects, and hopefully, India can start off Saturday with some very, very good news from the world of shooting, weightlifting. There's plenty of action. So stay tuned to Sports Today. We, of course, have Boria Mujumdar in Tokyo. Sports Today, India Today are in Tokyo to bring you the latest from the Olympics 2020. Breaking news, interviews, analysis, the world. So just, have to stay tuned to the channel to get a load of what we're going to offer to you for the next 2 weeks of the Olympics from Tokyo. Thank you so much. Have a very good night. That's all that I have from Colombo. And we'll be back soon with lots and lots of action on what is going to be a very, very, very busy Saturday for all you sports fans. And of course, our athletes who are in Tokyo, who are so well prepared, who work so hard. All the best to them. And we hopefully get you some really good news early in the morning from Japan. Thank you. Have a good night and do subscribe to Sports Today.